All right, good morning, everyone. It is Friday, January 27th, 2025. It's 9:15 a.m. New York City time, and the markets are down. Quick look at the pre-market tape. S&P futures down 2.18%, Nasdaq down 3.58%, the Dow holding up relatively well, down 0.8%. The Russell is down 1%. VIX futures up 12.3%. Treasuries are up in a big way. 10 years up 0.6%, 0.65. 20-year up 1.14%. 30-year up 1%. Gold is down 0.82%. Crude is down 0.5%. Nat gas taking a hit, down 8%. Bitcoin is down 4.5%. The FTSE is down 0.13%. The Nikkei closed up 0.23%. Shanghai Index closed down 0.46%, but it's coming up in the pre-market. And the US dollar is down 0.31% versus other currencies. Nice move here today. And the news is blaming Deepseek. And we're going to talk about that. How's everyone doing? How was your weekend? Lots of movement today. The AI trade taking a big hit, but I think it's mostly high-risk stocks. All right, so let's get right into it before the markets open. All right, in case you haven't heard of Deepseek, it's perhaps the best cutting-edge AI, generative AI technology to come out of China. It's been around for a bit. I've been using it, and it's pretty good. And some studies have shown that it holds up well versus ChatGPT's best models. Now, this has been out for a minute, and suddenly I see in the news this morning that the markets are selling off because they just found out about DeepSeek, and a lot of the AI stocks are selling off. And a lot of the power companies, nuclear power, data center related companies, utilities companies, GE Vernova's down something like 19%. CEG, Vistra Energy, they're all down double digits. Big moves for utility stocks. I think Nvidia's down probably over 5% now. ASML's down something like 8%, taking big hits. This app is not news, so I find it a little odd that suddenly the markets would trade down, and then the news just pump out DeepSeek as the reason. I know the news likes to just pump out reasons because that's what everybody's looking for. When you see the markets down, you need a news headline to tell you why it's down, but that's not necessarily how the markets work. So, a few things I'm seeing right now. Markets were down last night. They were trending down last night, and then this morning they started moving down in a big way. A few things to note. The Dow is holding up relatively well. Healthcare is actually, I think, up. Yeah, a lot of healthcare stocks are up. Utilities obviously taking a big hit, but the overall sector is doing all right. Tech is taking a pretty big hit, NASDAQ especially, but the NASDAQ is naturally it's really high risk. However, the Russell is not taking a big hit. So if this was overall like discriminate selling in the markets, then the Russell will surely be down. This could be for a variety of reasons, but the Russell isn't. It's not heavy on the AI trade. So I guess we'll just make a note of that, right? So maybe it is AI, right? Not necessarily Deepseek, but maybe it's AI. What else we got? We got communications. Communications are down. Materials, I think, are about flat. Staples are up slightly. The Chinese tech ETF is up slightly. And then bonds, treasuries are trading higher, so yields have dropped. TLT is looking nice. Nat gas has a pretty good move down 8%. But honestly, this is kind of just like another day for nat gas. And the Mag 7, let's have a look. Meta's down. Now, what is that, 3%? Apple is up. Microsoft is down just a tad bit. Google is down about 2.5%, coming back up. Broadcom down a few percent. Nvidia still down. That's a nice little drop on Nvidia. I think it's just over 5%. I know ASML is taking a big hit. Coming back up slightly now. They hit 650, bounced right off of that. Taiwan Semiconductor is down in a big way. China still sources a lot from Taiwan Semiconductor. What about Super Microcomputer? What are they? SMCI? Yeah. Super Microcomputers, Chinese semiconductor stock. Or, I mean, essentially with the exposure it has to China. And that's down. Alibaba is working on AI tech. They're up slightly, not in a big way. Baidu, up slightly. JD's flat. How about EVs? BYD is down slightly. And some semis in the US are up, like TXN. Actually, TXN is, yeah, they're up slightly. Intel, I think, is up. How about GFS? GFS is down. It's Global Foundries down slightly. ADI is about flat. Well, not really any trading in the pre-market, actually. All right, so overall, big moves I'm seeing. Tech, yes, tech is taking a beating. But I think this has a lot to do with risk on, risk off. And tech and the power companies have been very high risk, I think. Semiconductors and the utilities companies that are investing heavily into nuclear power for data centers. So you have that, and then you have treasuries rallying hard. So to me, that represents the risk off part. Yields were near 5%, and most, if not all, professionals have been saying it. When yields get towards 5%, that acts as sort of a cap on stocks, or it should, because 5% is a hell of a rate for global markets to get in on U.S. treasuries. Risk-free 5%. If you're a foreign country, you take that bet. And the markets know that. Wall Street knows that. So a sell-off in stocks makes sense. So what are you going to sell off? You're going to sell off the high-risk stocks. Now, enter Deepseek. Again, Deepseek has been around for a minute. Not sure how long. Several months? I don't know. A year? I'm not even sure. Deepseek has been around for a minute. I don't think it's about Deepseek. I think it's about the idea that these high-risk stocks, these semiconductor chips companies, the utilities companies, that they won't make as much money going forward because markets now realize one part, the first part being risk on, risk off. Treasuries yielding 5%. That's as good of a reason as any. And then we'll get to tariffs and policy, which has a big part to do with it, I think. We'll get to that in a minute. But I think the markets are realizing right now that if China can do this, then they're going to do it at a far lower price, far lower cost than the U.S. can, and that means anybody can do it. So I think at some point, if not very soon, earnings are going to slow down and CapEx spend is going to go down. So I even think Meta, Zuckerberg, he gave out that $60 billion amount. He's going to drop that to like 45. I give it 3 months, maybe 6 months if I want to be safe. He's going to drop that amount. So I don't think it's necessarily about Deepseek. I think it's the idea that any other country could do this at a lower cost than the U.S. and they could do it just as well. However, I think that might. Even Desmond pointed out earlier. I think that might just be like one of the small catalysts, but I don't think that's the big picture. I think the big picture would be yields. You have immigration protests going on across the country here. It's a big deal. Labor, that's a massive deal. And if people aren't paying enough attention right now, they will be. Tariffs on Colombia. That was based off of a tweet or something, and he reacted with 25% tariffs. So tariffs on all the Latin American countries, that's not a good idea. So groceries are about to get more expensive, which means inflation and higher sales for staples, for consumer staples, for grocery stocks. Because they're going to make more money, they're going to pass the cost off to the consumer. And tariffs actually help with that. They help companies raise prices, and that contributes to inflation. And in the long run, those companies benefit, and the consumer, it's a consumer's loss. And the other thing, which people seem to not think about at all from last week, was the Bank of Japan raised rates by 25 basis points. Now, I didn't think the markets would respond in a big way. I did buy puts just in case, but I think that probably has a lot to do with the sell-off today. And we'll see how it goes through the remainder of the week. But last time the Bank of Japan raised rates, it took about a week for that 10% correction to happen in the SPY. So we'll see what happens. So I think the carry trade, perhaps unwinding some more. Tariffs, policies, protests. And the idea that anybody can do what we're doing. Oh, and treasuries, yields. So I think it's multi-factor. But everything else, everything outside of, I think the AI, the Deepseek, I think that's sentiment. Everything else is economics. So that's why I hesitate when the news comes out and says headlines, Deepseek is making the markets drop. I think the headlines are maybe convincing markets to drop because of that. But there are a lot of other bigger reasons for the markets to drop. All right. So good timing there. Markets just open. S&P coming back up. I loaded up on UPRO. I said SPY earlier, but I swapped it for UPRO because I realized the trade I was trying to make. I've been using Deepseek for research, and I like its process. It if you use the I think it's called Deepthink feature, it tells you, it gives you basically its line of thought, its line of reasoning when it's answering your queries. So I like that. All right, so let's see what we got here. I got a few positions to manage today. I sold some strangles. Luckily, I kept them rather small. Um, but on a good note, I'm making bank on some spy puts that I bought. Oh yeah, I'm gonna cash out most of these because I think the spy is gonna recover, and it already is. All right, I am doing quite well today. All right, quantum stocks are dropping. Pepsi. Pepsi. Look at Pepsi move. Okay, I have some short-term calls. I'm catching out. The 155s. Let's see what I can get. I'm gonna go for 315. Oh, I got 320. Nice. Okay. I don't know if that was a trade for you, for my wealthy donors, but maybe I did that on my own. Can't remember. But that was Pepsi March 155 calls. There's still 160s and 170s, all expiring March. Palo Alto, I'm still up on my calls. Oil and gas looks, well, oil looks fine right now, actually. Nat gas, let's have a look. Nat gas, UNG is down 5%. And I think it's time for me to cash out my hedges. I think it's a great time to cash out hedges on nat gas. Okay, I still got some hedges on nat gas. I'm going to keep in play. Tesla's down 2.7%. All right, let's check some of these TLT plays. That's nat gas. Okay, we still got some room on TLT. I'm going to let those ride. Yeah. I think TLT is just getting going. It might correct a bit because that's a big move, but yeah. TLT is looking good. Or just, treasuries. Because TLT's, ETF, it's derivative. I think quantum deserves to be punished way more. QUBT is my preferred short on quantum stocks. I think that stock is going to cease to exist at some point. There's no reason for it to exist. Probably fraud. It's probably fraudulent. I sold strangles on Oklo, but those strangles are getting IV crushed, it would seem. It's down 24%. And yeah, sold a lot of strangles. I'm only down $1,000. That is no big deal at all. I'm going to roll down these calls. Let's see. Let's roll them down to, what do we got? I want to say 38. No, the spreads are terrible. I could go 35. Oh, these spreads are monstrous. Okay, I'm just going to have to wait on those. Yeah, that's not going to happen right now. I'll try to close some of them, but I cannot roll right now. Okay, there goes some. And let's see if it bounces. I think it'll bounce a little bit, and then I'll get back in. I still have some more short calls. Wow, that is a hell of an IV crush. Okay, what else we got? Let me bring up the flex grid here. Broadcom, holy hell, Broadcom is down 12%. Nvidia's down 11%. All right, okay. I'm going Nvidia. Man, this is expensive. What's IVR? Let's see. 48. That's it. Oh, I thought it'd be a lot higher. Okay, it's time to sell some puts on Nvidia. I'm gonna go 120. I think I might just do cash secured. Let's just do a little bit for now. All right, we'll go with that. And then maybe some. Let's see. Let's just. I want some big upside exposure on a bounce. But these calls are expensive. Okay, I'll do that. All right, bought some call spreads in NVIDIA expiring February 14th. Bought the 135s, sold the 145s. That's a bit greedy. But we'll see what happens. NVIDIA's down 12%. MicroStrategy is down 3.3. I feel like it should be getting hammered right now. Ben, thank you for your donation to my beer fund. Actually, I don't drink beer anymore. Tea. My matcha tea fund. QSR. Nice. Yeah, I bought some short-term QSR calls. I think I said that on the talk maybe. I think they were February. And I cashed them out for like 100%. I'm assuming now I would have been up another at least 50. Yeah, because the delta on those things is crazy. All right, what else we got? Microsoft down 3.5%. That's a good buying opportunity. I swear it was in the teens earlier. Oh, it hit 410 this morning. Okay, yeah. I'm seeing a lot of buying opportunities. If you're hedged, then I think this is a good time to sell some put spreads on the big stocks. Microsoft, I don't think Microsoft should be punished in the same way. I mean, you know, it's down 3.5%. NVIDIA's down 12%. Pretty big difference, right? But down 3.5% is a pretty big move for Microsoft. S&P's rallying right now. I don't think I would touch Apple now. I did sell put spreads on Apple, and then I have call spreads on them too. Yeah, I wouldn't touch them now. I'm already in them. AMD's down 5.7%. Amgen, yeah, we're going to cash out Amgen, I think. I got a lot of money in Amgen, I just realized. Or more than I should. All right, let's see what we can get there. I think I'm going to cash out 80%. The spreads are very wide. Okay, I got 295 for those. I'll take it. All right, looking good on Apple. ASML. I had calls. Those are cut in half. Down 40%. That's okay. Carvana is only down 0.94%. I sold call spreads on them. Yeah, I need a little bit more for them. What are these still doing here? Apparently, I didn't close all of my EA strangles. Okay, now they're closed. All right. FLR is down 10%. That's a bit strong. This company isn't even that exposed. They have pretty balanced exposure. These spreads are terrible, though. Let me see if I can. When do they have earnings? Might sell some put spreads. February 18th. Yeah, spreads are terrible. Okay. Why don't we just buy a couple? Down 10%. I'm just going to put it on my radar that I like it. So I'm just going to buy a small amount of shares. Just for now. First Solar is only down 0.5%. Very interesting. Okay, here's another thing. Solar is only what's a solar ETF? I don't know what it is, but let's check a few solar stocks. Enphase is up. First Solar is slight, down 0.5%. It's nothing. It's flat. How about Sunrun? Sunrun's flat. That tells me a lot. Solar Edge down 2%. What's Deepseek? Up 1.87. Okay, solar is doing fine. Autos are fine. How's my bond play? That's flat. TLT's holding. GV. Oh, that's the one I forgot about. That one should be sticking out to me. I sold strangles. Just gonna close these. I'm gonna ratchet this position. Gonna sell the 400s. Let's see what we get here. To go 440. These spreads are terrible. I might go inverted on GV. Okay, there we go. What's IVR? 94 post earnings. Okay, let's do it again. I think I'm gonna go. Look at these spreads; they're terrible. I go 280. Do some more 400s. Yeah, I think market's definitely skewed to the upside, so I might buy some March calls. Let's do. Yeah, let's add to this. I have Tasty Trade playing in the background. Old Tony Batista. He just made a good point, and it sounds like they're okay. It sounds like they're thinking the same. Maybe they probably. I'm gonna assume they said it before me about AI. He just made a point. He said, "Why aren't the markets celebrating this? They should be celebrating this because it means they can get energy, power, electrical components, infrastructure. Everything should be cheaper." And it's not just about China, right? Like, well, they're not going to get it from China. Well, anybody would be able to do this. So why not get it from any other country? Unless Trump literally just, puts tariffs on every single country in the world, which would be moronic. I agree with them. I get the market selling off on a day like today because markets are sentiment driven, but I think that makes this a pretty damn good buying opportunity. I agree with him. I think it's a very good point. It's a little bit forward looking, but nothing wrong with that. Okay, I'm going to buy some call spreads on GEV to hedge. I think I'm going to go pretty wide on these and go for the profit potential. Let's see. And then I'll look at comments, see what you guys are panicking about. Are you guys hedged? Okay, GEV. GEV is really the only position that's giving me a kick in the ass today. But it's very manageable. I made more than the money I'm losing on GEV from my SPY puts. So, GG there. Okay. How's SPY doing? SPY is looking nice. UPRO. Let's see. Should I cash that out? I don't need UPRO. I'm going to buy the dip on stocks. Okay. UPRO is closed. Nice little 2% there. Real quick. All right. Constellation Brands is up. I had some calls in there. How's Amgen? I held on to some of those calls. I think it's a good idea. Yes. Active trading, folks. Yeah. I closed Amgen. Or marking that close. How's QSR? I need to check them again. 51%. And they have earnings February 12th. I think I'm going to hold those. I mean, I made some money on the February calls. Yeah, I think those are solid. I have a lot of confidence in some of these plays today. And it always helps when the guys that have 40 years plus experience in the industry give confirmation bias. All right. How's Oklo? Can I sell those short calls yet? I think I can. Let's see if the spreads allow me to. I could just roll out. When do they have earnings? Last was, well, or when are they going to talk about the concept of earnings? Last was November 14th, so mid-February. I need to sell 3 calls. I could go inverted. I don't quite feel like it on a stock like Oklo. I think I'll stay out for now. We'll see if it bounces a little bit. All right. NVIDIA's starting to move back up. How about ASML? Yeah, I'm going to take some short-term exposure to ASML. I think February's through earnings. Oh, they have earnings this week. Okay. I'm going to buy some. Let's do a little. No gamble, no future. I sold some puts on ASML. Completely forgot about that. I'm actually okay with that. I'm going to do a 700 call. Maybe I want to do call spread. Let's see. 725 looks okay. Or do I want to do 750? I think I can do 750. I'm good with that. All right. Yeah, I'm going pretty bullish here. Apple, I still have some call spreads. I might cash those out. Apple's up 2.1%. How funny. Yeah, I'm going to take some money off the table. And I still have put spreads, credit put spreads on Apple. So I'll make some money there. All right. Yeah, Apple's got a good move. How's JPM? Old trusty. Not quite.
This guy here, what happened this morning?
Oh, Andy, hello.
Hello.
Good entry. Okay, let's see. Let me look at the comments. Yeah, sorry for ignoring everybody, but on days like these, I have to make trades. I value my money more than I value you. Let's see. Check YouTube. Millions of comments in YouTube. I'll just ignore those. All right. I see Heil Hitler from Elon Musk guiding the stock price down. Very nice. CVS is up 3%. Yeah, look at these values. Rotation into value. I wish somebody would have said that this was going to happen. Eggs. Yeah, eggs. My humane, cage-free, free-range eggs, they're gone. They don't have any more at the store. So I got to buy the ones that come from chickens that are, beat in the face every day, Isn't it interesting that we value the colored eggs more than we value the white eggs? I don't know. I just find that curious. It's not supposed to be a racist comment or anything like that. This market is weird. Why does it not want to correct? I mean,
it's been correcting. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, we barely got a 5% correction. It's too concentrated. Yeah. And money keeps flowing, so it will. I think this is the year that we get a real correction. I mean, 2022, what were we down 20%, right, for the year? But it was sort of a walk downstairs throughout the year. The markets are clearly, to me, they're clearly saying, like, oh, yeah, we could have a good drop. And Skew has been giving massive, like, red flags. And in Skew, I trust. So, yeah, I'm looking maybe all this makes sense. These jitters, we'll call them, because these aren't crazy moves. On semis, yes, but I think you keep seeing, what was it they said in The Big Short where they were talking about the housing market and they said bubbles are regional? That's what you're seeing in the markets. You're seeing like regional, except it's like sub-industry or theme, maybe, is a good term to use. Theme as in meme stocks or nuclear power. The stocks that are built up on hype, those bubbles are correct and they will pop. But the overall markets aren't necessarily affected by Oklo or SMR, or ionic computing, So those can pop and the markets can just, be flat, keep moving up, have, 2% down movements here and there. So none of this, in other words, all these little things that keep happening, it's not macro. And that's why you're not having a big bubble bursting, a big drop in the markets. There is absolutely macro risk, but that's not really materializing. And when it begins to, you'll know. And say yields trading at 5%, that's not a macro risk. That's just sort of an upside cap on stocks overall. But it doesn't mean stocks can't be range bound and just stay flat for a year or 2 years until valuations look reasonable again. Earnings eventually goes up, but stock prices stay virtually the same. Okay, well, there's your correction, right? So correction doesn't necessarily have to be the technical form where markets drop at least 10%. It can be prices stagnate while valuations revert, back to a reasonable level.
What was the catalyst this morning? What happened?
Oh, did you miss the first part of the talk?
I missed the first part. Yeah.
Deepseek. Tell Andy what the first part of this talk was about.
Please.
It's about Deepseek, but my contention with the news, with the headlines, is saying Deepseek is Deepseek's fault. China, Deepseek. Overall, Deepseek, I think, more relates to the idea that anybody can do what we're doing just as well, right? Because Deepseek, if you don't know, Deepseek is like cutting edge generative AI technology from China. And it contends well with ChatGPT. So if any other country can do this just as well at far lower cost, why are we spending so much money in the U.S.? The big tech companies are not going to, they're not going to, Zuckerberg, one thing I said, Zuckerberg, what did he say, 60 billion in CapEx? Yeah, he's going to drop that down to 45 billion within 6 months. Or I'll say below 50, easy. Why pay so much when you can get all the materials and get the power you need in other countries? Doesn't make any sense. So I think that idea more so than Deepseek is making us scared. No, I don't think that's, I think that's, sensationalism. But overall, that's kind of sentiment, and that you can say, okay, there are economics to that idea, as in costs are cheaper elsewhere. Why do we load up here? Why do we need all these U.S.-based data centers? Let's just look elsewhere and lower the costs. Well, that's good for semiconductor chip stocks. That's good for the companies that are providing the services. So the companies that invest in the infrastructure strictly within the U.S., it could be bad for them. But overall, I think it's good because it should mean higher margins, lower costs, more competition, which is fantastic. We need competition within the AI space. Absolutely. U.S. is not the only country that knows what they're doing here. So I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a reason for the markets to sell off, like in full shock, right? But granted, they're not. It really is just, it's pretty isolated to a lot of the big AI stocks. So you're looking for a correction, you're getting it with AI stocks. And I think it's a buying opportunity for those stocks. NVIDIA was down 12%. What are they at now? 11%. I'm going bullish NVIDIA. They have earnings coming up. Not necessarily an earnings play, but yeah, I'll go bullish over the next few weeks. Absolutely. So I think you have a lot of reasons to be bullish. I think based on the headline, it sounds like doom and gloom for AI, but I think this is good news on account of the dip in stock prices. I think it's a great buying opportunity for them for the long term. I'm trading it in the short term, but I mean, overall in the long term, yeah, this is great. And, you don't want to go as risky as NVIDIA. This is one of those days that reminds you that NVIDIA is high risk. Look at Microsoft. Microsoft's down 3.3%. Microsoft's kind of been lagging the Mag 7. Not a bad time to get Microsoft for the long term. Still, I can't remember if Johnson & Johnson is still AAA rated, but Microsoft and Johnson & Johnson, last I checked, are the only companies, publicly traded companies in the world that have AAA rated investment grade bonds. Microsoft is safer than governments as an investment. That's insane. So buy it for the long term. But So yeah, I think this is mostly sentiment driven. I think it's sensational. I think headlines are trying to convince the markets that that's what's happening, and then the markets are responding to the headlines. However, I think the big news is the actual macroeconomics, which would be policies, tariffs, immigration protests across the U.S. that aren't really. I've seen some in the news, but I feel like it should be a much bigger deal. And treasury yields, we're trading near 5%. So that's a great reason to buy U.S. treasuries for any country around the world, any institution. Sell the high risk stocks and get into treasuries, U.S. treasuries. You need a reason? Okay, Deepseek. Scary. It's really good, you know? Okay, there's your reason. That's what I think. China did it for 6 million. We need billions. Yeah, precisely. Yeah. Well, I think at first they were saying that DeepSeek, if they probably fixed it by now, but if you ask DeepSeek, it would tell you that it was ChatGPT. Like it just straight up thought it was ChatGPT. So I'm like, did they just train it based off ChatGPT? Which why not? I guess. Used to work at Microsoft, hated that place. Everybody hates the place that they used to work at. Tell me one person that used to work somewhere and loved working there. Like you probably left for a reason. I mean, that's what people said about Palo Alto. What was it? At least a few years ago, when I said it was a growth at a reasonable price stock. Let's bring it up. And somebody that worked there said, "Oh, Palo Alto's terrible. The blah blah blah, and this is why I never invest." And Palo Alto it's one of the best plays I've made over the past couple of years. It's Palo Alto. It's the lead cybersecurity stock. And now what? Pelosi's buying calls, right? So, come on, cybersecurity. Oh, look, yeah, that's a nice rally for Palo Alto this morning. I hate Salesforce, and a lot of people hate Salesforce. But that thing's been a rocket ship, especially ever since it was added to the Dow, which I feel like that was like Mark Benioff probably took the board of the Dow Jones like out to a fancy meal and like schmoozed them, and yeah, I don't know. That was some back alley transactions going on there. The CRM, it shouldn't have been in the freaking Dow. It should have been Google.
Should have been Google.
Should have been Google. Yeah. All right. I am actually going to cut this short because I have to abscond. But I'll stay on for another 5 minutes just in case anybody has burning questions.
You gotta make more trades.
Like for active trading or just in general?
You're leaving because you have to make more trades. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, I got a few errands to run, and there's I have there's a little thing going on at the library that I am interested in. Well, that's after lunch, but I wanted to settle in at the library, have some coffee, make some trades.
Right.
I still need to do. Hell, I guess after today, I got just a tad bit more research to do for the final part of the renewables reports. That's fine. I think it's good for you guys, but it adds just a tad bit more work for the report that I fully intend to release by the end of this week. End of this week is 31st. So, yeah, the report will come out by the end of this week. And I think the sell-off overall is good for in relation to the report and my findings.
So summary is that people are crazed about Deepseek or Deepseek.
I think that's what the headlines are saying. Like, Deepseek, China, they can do it too. We're doomed. That's kind of what it looks like.
And that's what's moving everything down this morning by.
Yeah, because an example,
oh my God.
an easy example. Let's say Deepseek just came out, and it's revealed to be just as good as ChatGPT, and it's fantastic, right? Cutting edge, awesome. But the markets didn't move at all. Is that not an unbelievable scenario? You catch my meaning? Like, if the markets were down 5%, would you be like, oh, it's DeepSeek for sure? But if the markets were flat, what would you say? you know what I mean? So, like, if the markets, if DeepSeek had nothing to do with it, if DeepSeek, everybody knew whatever, it wasn't news at all, and the markets were down this much, then I would look to policy, and I would say, yeah, it probably has a lot to do with policies and the immigration protests that are going on across the nation. There's a lot. ICE has been doing a lot of raids. I think people need to pay more attention to that.
Sure. Here's my thing is that you had just said that DeepSeek thought it was ChatGPT.
Yeah. I don't know if that's...
how do we know it's not just like, oh, it's ChatGPT with a mask on it or whatever?
In Mandarin? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like they just... Well, I mean, that's the implication is that they just...
Yeah, they just stole ChatGPT and said, hey, we're DeepSeek, but it just said ChatGPT API.
Yeah, but what's the implication there, though? Like, so what if it is? Like, it could very well be, but what is that? Like, why does that matter?
Then, I mean, if it's just as good as ChatGPT, then it's not a new LLM.
It's not just... But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying... Yeah. I agree. It's not just about the idea that it's just as good. It's the fact that if it is just as good, it was developed using far less investment and money and capital. And if that's the case, then any other country could do it. So there's no reason for Zuckerberg to say 60 billion related to AI investments and 100 billion and 500 billion for Stargate. Like there's no reason for that. It's just, well, I mean, frankly, it's not all of it, but some of it is just, I'm rich and I have a lot of rich friends and these policies are going to make them a lot of money. And we're going to focus it on the U.S. so they make even more money. Because if we try to, get them to base it in China or anywhere else, they don't make as much money. We can raise the price tag as long as we control the market. So I think that's exactly what's that bluff is kind of being called right now. Or not bluff, but that scheme, I suppose. So, yeah. I mean, look at utilities, man. Like, I mean, I've been saying it a while. Like, I don't think utilities should be trading like this. And when utilities drop, CEG is down 18.5%. VST is down 23% on just related news. Like, you see what I mean? Like, it's not like China developed technology, a brand new renewable energy that is better than nuclear, is better than solar, is better than everything. That and it's like real. If that happened, then I would say, okay, I can see why VST and CEG and Talon, I can see why they're down 20%, But related news, like, this is like if you cried because, like, a third connection on your LinkedIn, their brother died. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, but yeah, these stocks shouldn't be trading like this.
Like China didn't do anything, really.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they trained it off of. Look, I don't know, right? Like, we'll find out at some point, I suppose. I don't know, but I don't think it'd be too far-fetched to say that they trained it off of all models and all information.
What was the
and then it decided that ChatGPT was the best. So therefore, it modeled itself off of ChatGPT. You know what I mean? So, like, and I'm not saying like I lean towards that as an explanation. I would just consider that an equal explanation to any other explanation. You know what I mean? So, is China going to do China things? Of course they are. Sure. But yeah, if they have been invested in AI technology for as long as we have, and I think I shared that PBS. I think it was PBS. documentary a while back, some months ago, and they were reporting on Chinese AI tech, and they were like, yeah, U.S. is sleeping on this. Like, people have no idea. They think China's like way behind on AI tech, and it's not true. It really isn't. That's where the whole TAL, the stock that I found, that I was like, oh man, they're taking over little Chinese kids' minds. That's where that came from. It came from that documentary. Education. Yeah, so it wouldn't be that surprising that they came up with their own model and they developed it themselves. Maybe it was based on existing models, such as ChatGPT. Maybe decided ChatGPT was the best. I don't know. Or maybe they did just steal the tech. Maybe we used Chinese tech in the first place, like OpenAI. Would it be too far-fetched to say that we used them first, and that's why they have our tech? You know? I mean, it happens all the time. We go to China for manufacturing, labor, and we create products, services, upcharge, take advantage of China's cheap labor costs, and then later on, China says, "Well, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna use your tech," and then we say you can't do that. So, I mean, they already have access to it, you know. So, yeah, that wouldn't be that surprising to me. So I don't know. Whatever the case is, I think the whole point is that, and I'm taking, I guess I said the first half this morning earlier, but now I'm sort of taking a cue from the Tasty Trade guys when they said if this news is saying that anyone can do it just as well and probably a hell of a lot cheaper than we've been doing it. We shouldn't have been paying this much. We're like the first mover. We're like almost like the startup, like we were figuring it out. Therefore, it costs a hell of a lot more money that we needed to invest because we're experimenting, we're trying to innovate, and then we have some people that are just trying to make as much money as possible because they were the first movers, right? Think really high stock-based comp for high-growth tech stocks, right? But once it's figured out, cost should be a lot cheaper. So in a way, I think we figured it out for the rest of the world. But the rest of the world doesn't have to invest an insane amount of money to copy us. It's kind of like Tesla figuring out EVs, you know? And then China, China spanked them now. China is spanking Tesla in terms of EV production and costs. Even quality. Go figure. All right. Let's see. I wonder if YouTube people. Oh, I got people watching on YouTube. They're just quiet. Mr. Panther. Yeah, Mr. Panther. If you'd like, sign up for a trial. You're gonna have to choose because you can't have it all. But you can sign up for a 1-week trial of the paid content. The trading is strictly only trades. That's all you're gonna see. You're just gonna see trades. The research, or I think it's investor. Is that what I call it?
Yeah, investor research. Yeah.
Yeah, the LVT investor. That's where you get all the research. To me, the research is more valuable, like because I think it's a lot more to work with. But you could easily say that the trading is more valuable, well, because it makes money. So yeah, you will have to decide. But if you want the research, you can sign up for a 1-week trial and you can have a look. There's a lot, so I'd be surprised. Like it's all there. I don't remove any of it from like prior months or whatever. I'd be surprised if you could actually get through all of it in 1 week. And it comes with spreadsheets, stuff like that. So, yeah, the trials are open. There's a limit, just because I don't want everybody, going in taking my shit that I work really hard on. But yeah, you do either trades or the research. Yeah, and I think even this month it's been rocky with the trades. but I'm pretty sure we're still in the positive. Might be close to 10% for the month. I'll need to go back and check everything. I'll do that this weekend, and then report back on Monday. How's GV?
I kept hearing trade sounds coming, and it was my computer and trade sounds.
Oh, you thought I was hiding stuff from you?
No. I'm making trades from my phone, and I have Thinkorswim open on my computer, and I'm closing trades, and I hear the trade sound. I'm like, oh, that's my computer doing the trade.
Nice. LRCX, is that right? Yeah. They're down 5%. Okay. What else we got? Yeah, I think I said it last week. I think now's a good time to get into some cyclical semiconductor chip stocks. But then again, even the major ones, the secular plays, the best plays, those down a good amount today. So, and then quick point on that, secular refers to the companies that are taking advantage of long multi-year trends. They're sort of comprehensive, so they're not just focused on one niche part of a market, such as, say, automotive, right? Or like we'll talk about semiconductor chip stocks. They're not just focused on EVs. They're focused on, they're diversified. They have EVs, AI, phones, computers, right? The PC market, all over the place. And they are able to leverage their exposure to each part of the semiconductor market depending on prevailing trends. So right now it's AI, right? Before, some years ago, it was EVs. So years before that, it was phones, right? 5G, right? And then, once upon a time, it was the PC market and the internet. So companies that have proven their ability to be exposed to multiple parts of a market and then leverage the strongest trend within those markets, such as NVIDIA, just one of the best examples out there. Those would be secular. I would refer to them as the secular plays. NVIDIA is good at this. ASML, you're not making anything semiconductor chip related without ASML. Same thing with Taiwan Semiconductor. Now Broadcom, wouldn't have classified them as secular before, but now they definitely have joined in on that. They are down 13.5%, by the way. Still high above where they were in December, beginning of December. But anyway, so yeah, those would be the secular plays, the major players, the guys that are somewhat diversified, and they know how to leverage the strongest trends within their markets. The cyclical plays would be, say, like Global Foundries, or AMD was sort of cyclical. Lam Research, Marvel, ADI, Texas Instruments. They're exposed to these overall markets, but they don't really shift their business too much to really capitalize. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're looking for, say, like the best place, you want to have the most exposure, then you're gonna go more for the secular plays, more for companies like NVIDIA, Taiwan Semiconductor, ASML, versus Texas Instruments or Qualcomm or ADI. Right now, a lot of those cyclical stocks have had their valuations moderate in a big way. They've sold off so much compared to the secular stocks. So if the secular stocks haven't really had a correction, which I think today they're kind of having one, then that's where you look at cyclical. Because if you're still predicting growth in the overall semiconductor chip market and you want to be exposed to that, but you don't want to overpay, well, why not get into the stocks that have been beaten up? So what? They're not the most exposed to the best trends, but all ships will rise with the tide. So that's the basic thesis. And if you look at a lot of those, Marvel was doing well until today, but I think I like LRCX. They've definitely been beaten up over the past 6-8 months. I like Amcor, same thing. And these are companies that are, they're needed in the semiconductor chip market. They've traded down in a big way, but yeah, they're not going anywhere. They're still projecting for the most part, double-digit revenue growth over the next few years. So, yeah, their charts look way different than NVIDIA, Taiwan Semiconductor. I was going to say ASML, but ASML has been beaten up too. But that's a secular play. So, I really like ASML. I like Monolithic Power. That one's more secular, I think. But yeah, there are plenty of semiconductor chip stocks to look at right now. If you're not feeling the high flying ones, even after a day like today. All right, let's see. I'm going to take one last glance at my positions. GEV. Did I think I went ahead and sold those calls. Yes, I did. And then I bought those call spreads as a hedge. FTAI is still going up. Oh, no. Oh, okay. It was down Friday. FTAI was victim to short seller report. But I've been following that company for a little while. I don't think... Yeah, I'm not sure about that short seller report. Management, they have delayed the release of their quarterly SEC filing, but it's because they had to do an audit. So it's kind of interesting. It's sometimes like if the company's like, okay, we'll do an internal audit or we'll have auditors take a look at our financials. Could very well be that they're good to go and the short seller report has no credibility, right? Or little credibility. But if there's an investigation, an external party starts an investigation, or the SEC starts an investigation, that's kind of a different story. So far, FTAI, yeah, they're doing their own audit, and that's why they've delayed their filing. I don't know if there's any credibility to the short seller report. I would lean towards probably not, or it's not as big of a deal as a short seller. I think it was Money Waters, as Money Waters implies it is. And that was a hell of a sell-off on that company. Yeah, they have a real business, so could be doing something that doesn't add up, but maybe it's not a big deal. But at this point, I have very little exposure. I made a lot of money selling puts last week, and then I bought some deep in the money calls, which I've been trimming. All right, ASML's moved back up. I think I had good timing on those call spreads. And I'm probably going to mark a few trades in the active trading channel. I wasn't going to do it while putting all those trades in. And I think that was a good profit taking on Apple. Yeah. All right.
Nice work.
Feeling good today. Is everyone else feeling good? No margin calls?
No margin calls. Made some money on CVS.
Oh, CVS, nice.
CVS,
that one.
Yeah. I bought some short-term calls. I bought some calls for end of this week, actually.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check. Abbott. I marked them as close for relative valuation. I did mark that on the trading channel. But in case you haven't in case you were in, holy hell, look at that rally. My God. That's got to be the best price move for Abbott in history. Yeah, if you happen to still be in Abbott calls, I'm out of those. Or those are marked as an exit for, they meet the exit criteria for relative valuation strategy. So, good game on those. CVS. Oh, and mind you, Abbott, that one took, I believe, 8 months? I think it was 8 months. Maybe 9 months. I think it was 9 months, yeah. So, yeah. I think people, and myself included, we're starting to get a little bit greedy with the relative valuation plays because a lot of them are working out rather quickly. But yeah, I think Abbott, that's a good example of why it's best to stick to the long term. I still think 1 year leaps aren't too bad as long as you roll them at some point, maybe 6 months out. Just make sure you roll. I think Nike just adjusted those. Oh, yeah. CVS. I can't remember if I marked that. Not sure. All right. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up here. The last part of the renewables energy report coming out. I'll have it out by Friday. And that'll kind of wrap everything up and put a nice bow on it. A lot of information. I'm trying to really condense it and make it a more concise report. It was kind of building up to be this great, magnificent report that was going to take you a whole day to read. And then I thought, you know what? I think it's just not a lot of fluff, but I'm like, I wouldn't want to read all of this if I were you guys. So I am condensing it, trimming the fat, and trying to have a decent little balance between information and, decision. So, and then I need pretty pictures for you guys. The spreadsheet is done. The analysis for the stocks, that's done. I don't think I'll make any changes to that. Probably not. And I might just release that today and just say, okay, here's part of the report, and the written portion you'll get later. Later this week. But at any rate, that'll be out by the end of this week. Book club meeting is Friday for us nerds. I think Friday at 8 p.m. New York City time. If you want to be a part of book club, because you're also a nerd, everybody's welcome to join. We already did the vote on next month's book, which will be In the Heart of the Sea by Nathaniel Philbrick. Kind of a Moby Dick tale. The book's got really good reviews, and it's way better than the movie, apparently. I'm actually kind of psyched to read that. But that's the next book, and it's all in the book club channel. So if you want to join book club, send me a message in the super books, and and then feel free to join on joining on February's book, and then this will be our first book club meeting, but they're set for basically the end of each month. So you get a month to read each book. So, yeah, I think that's about it. And I'll probably have an updated version of, that's right, I have an updated version of the semiconductors spreadsheet for the subscribers as well. I mentioned that last week, so yeah, I'll have that out. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. That one won't take me too long. I already got started on it. So, in case you're curious how valuations look, well, I'll give you a freebie. Nvidia looks good at this valuation, so there's a little sneak peek there. That's a golden nugget for you. Meta's green now. Hot damn! Look at that.
Oh, Nvidia looks good. You don't say.
Yeah. Oh, it fell a little bit more since earlier.
Yeah, this came back up a little bit too.
Yeah. But all right. I'm going to call it quits for now. So I'll be ending the YouTube video and Discord talk simultaneously. So
All right, enjoy.
yes. Let's see. No questions, no cues from YouTube. All right then. Until Friday. Have a good week. Maybe nibble at some stocks you've been looking at. But, if you're going to sell puts, maybe sell put spreads instead. Don't be greedy. Yeah, look at tech. Look at semiconductors. Yeah. But yeah, don't be too greedy just in case the markets keep dropping. And if you have a hedge, maybe cash out some of it, but, keep a tad bit of it still on the table. All right. Until Friday, have a good week, everyone. And I will talk to you later.
Bye.